Hey, good morning, everybody. Mega Momentum, all y'all out there in internet land. We got Christina Swyers with us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What's going on, guys? Everybody, coffee time.
Coffee.
Coffee. Getting ready for a little coaching. Right on. Very cool.
It was funny. I think the other day we had somebody who was drinking. Oh no, it was actually Johnny Moe was drinking. What was he drinking? Topo Chico. What was it called? He was drinking. No coffee.
Something Topo Chico.
What is that?
I know. It's like mineral water in the morning. I'm like, no, come on, man. This is like third. I got my secondary stash of coffee over here. So
I got my water. I got my coffee. We're good.
I'm all prepped too. I got all my coffees, ready to rock and roll. I got a buddy of mine who drinks like 7 Red Bulls in the morning.
Oh, dude, no.
I can't do Red Bull. I can't do Red Bull.
I can't do it
Your
either.
body's gonna implode, man.
No, dude.
How is he not dead?
Those things are bad. I used to years ago.
Bad for you.
I drank some of the Rockstar ones I used to, like, kind of way back. I'm talking, like, way back when. And the Monster ones, I kind of got into those for a minute, like the low carb one, they say. And I would throw up if I tasted one right now. I think I'd throw up. I really would.
Yeah.
I can't drink any. I'm too sensitive to that kind of stuff. I can't do it.
I'm with you.
I don't
Good
know.
morning.
Morning. If that stuff can power rocket ships, man, I don't know.
Right. Well, guys, we got an amazing guest today, Christina. We've been kind of friends for a minute. She's a fellow EXPer like Dustin and I, and her and I got to meet because we're a member of a really awesome club called the Closers Club on Facebook. And I tell you, if you guys ever want to learn how to get entry into the Closers Club, you let me and Christina know, because I'll tell you, we had some neat stuff about that. We get some of that news a little early there,
Yeah. ABC, man, always be closing. And you have to be closing. To be in that club.
Well, Christina, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I'm married to my husband, Jeremy. We've been together 13 years. We have 3 boys. And I've been a licensed real estate agent for almost 7 years in the St. Louis market, St. Louis, Missouri, born and raised in the Midwest. I live in the show me state, and we really do have to show people here everything. The East and West Coast get stuff, and then we get it last. Nice. So I've always been kind of like a rogue person and kind of went off and done my own thing. And so real estate just really has suited me. And when I first got into the business, I really did not want to build my business door knocking and cold calling. So I figured out a better way to build my business. And now it's so much fun. Here we are almost 7 years later, selling real estate, growing a team across globally, essentially, and just having the most fun I've ever had in my life. And I just turned 40 this year. So
wow.
That's a little bit about me.
Well, tell everybody a little bit about that. When you said 7 years, I mean, I know you've hit like this icon status, which is platform at EXP Realty. What are you doing different when you say you didn't want to do it the traditional way?
Well, I will say, we'll take it back. When I first started, I started a big box franchise, and they showed me how to write a contract and showed me how to work an open house. And then they told me to work phone duty to grab clients and door knock and cold call. And it really wasn't working. I sold 3 houses in 8 months, and I almost got out of the industry as fast as I got into it. And I realized that something was wrong. So in the midst of me being there, I went home and I created a Facebook business page. And I said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to literally go online. I'm already online connecting with people. I'm going to go online and I'm going to go in these groups and I'm going to build relationships with people and engage with them and turn followers into real life friends and clients. And so essentially that's what I have done. Usually mostly Facebook, Instagram, and a little bit of LinkedIn. Those have been my platforms. But now, as we're going to touch on, here shortly, Clubhouse is starting to blow up, and I'm having a lot of success on Clubhouse. So
I saw that.
I just used those unorthodox methods to essentially grow and build a business. And people ask me, they're like, well, how do you lead generate? That's my lead generation, creating a post or, engaging and doing stories, doing a reel. That's an income producing activity for me. Very rarely will I make something out and not get someone to get into my DMs and ask me about becoming an agent, about my brokerage, about buying or selling a house. Like it's just kind of went, that crazy direction.
So essentially you're farming, but you're using social media as your farm, right? You're just,
yes.
You're just building out a community or an audience around you with many different platforms and a few different groups and things like that. And just engaging with those people to build relationships.
Well, it makes a lot of sense to me. Like, hey, listen, I'm the most social butterfly you'll ever meet in your life. This pandemic has about killed me because I love people. But, but I will say I can reach a much larger audience doing it via social media. If I have a message to get across or convey, or I want to create authority, right, in my market, and I can do that at a very, very high level online. And it's just, you can't do that, one to one.
That's very cool. So how much time in a day? Like you're an active agent. You're still buying and selling, right? You're not growing your business and writing in the book and everything else. You're actually an active agent as well. So how much time in a week do you spend, would you say, or on a day would you spend in social media to be able to nurture your farm and grow it?
Well, I would say that's kind of like a fully loaded question, because obviously I can turn it off when I want to. And I've gotten much better over the years. In the beginning, it did take a while for me to do that. And I would spend, 8 to 10 hours doing it. But that was because the barrier to entry is like no cost.
Correct.
And so you literally, like Gary Vee says, like just post and engage, like that costs you nothing. So I would say now, about average, I would say I'm on less than an hour a day.
Really?
People want to see the highlight reel, especially in stories. So I'll show them like the back end of like the business, or if I have something on my mind I want to talk about. But I don't post like 10 times a day. I post like once every few days.
Right.
Like I don't, it's much different now than it was in the beginning. In the beginning, it was much more frequent and more often, and using many platforms to do that. And it was kind of exhausting, I'm not going to lie, but it was worth it.
Well, I see that, I've been following you, and I like paying attention to people who are doing something. And it's not that we're doing something different. It's kind of like we're doing a lot of things together, if that makes sense. And I notice, maybe you don't post a lot, but I do notice what you do. You engage a lot. And that's what, I think the big difference is with social media. It's called social networking. And I've talked about this on a couple of podcasts. And it was actually, I can't remember who the hell it was the other day, but I was listening to something and they broke it down about the networking element. And it's something that Dustin and I are coaching up on right now, the network side. You can't just post and run away. No, and I see the engagement. I see your interaction in our group chat. I see what you're doing, and that's where people, I think, falter. They post this picture of something and they expect results. Like I'll tell you, agents all the time that I coach up, it's like they'll post up a picture of a house or a link to a house and nothing. I mean, like literally no comments, no wording in it or anything. And that's what you're doing different. So what made you, how did you realize that? Because I don't think a lot of people see that yet.
I think, right. Like, just said, oh, great, she sold another house. Like, who really gives a shit? Like,
right.
Okay, when you get the postcards in the mail, it's just sold in your neighborhood. That goes in the trash.
Right.
Like, same thing online. That goes in the trash. Nobody wants to see it unless you're telling a story and you're painting a picture, and it's cool and unique and different and your way, right? Like, I could sit there all day long and post all my listings or post every single house that I sell, but I'm not a robot.
Right.
I'm not a chatbot. Like, I'm a real person. Like,
I noticed too in your media package you sent me, and people may not realize this, but your engagement rate is 2%. Okay.
Yeah, actually, I need to update that.
Has it increased?
It's about 2.7 now.
And see, that's huge, because I ran some pretty big. I ran an influencer account in New Orleans for a foodie account in the city of New Orleans, a big Instagram account. My engagement was 1.3. And I had 160-something thousand followers. So that stood out to me, that 2% engagement. And I know that seems like a low number to people, but it's not. That's actually,
I have less than 5,000 followers.
I know. I saw that on your Instagram. And you're getting that type of engagement with 5,000. It means you're putting in the work and you're creating conversations that people want to be involved in, and that's a huge difference.
Well, I follow the data and analytics, and that's partly because I married a really smart nerd. My husband has 16 years of corporate IT behind him, and so he runs the digital back end of my business. So his whole metric, everything is data and numbers.
That's what I did before real estate. I ran a network.
That's like my secret weapon, just getting me to understand like why that's important and why we're tracking that the analytics, instead of just having like a personal account. It's why you want to have like a business or a creator account, so you can follow the analytics, what you're posting, what hashtags you're using, like what is actually working for you. There's an art and a science to it, right?
Yes.
And just like everything else.
Cool. What's that, Dustin? We can't hear you.
We can't hear you. Are you muted?
It's something. We had technical difficulty with Johnny Mo Tuesday. Now we got Dustin.
He's a mime today.
But no, that is, yeah, he can't. Something's going on. But it's so true. The metrics, and that's what people do. I think, I don't know if you said it just a second ago. Was it Dustin and I were talking? It's shooting from the hip. You know, and a lot of people do that. You got to be purposeful in this. I always talk about purposeful intention. Mm-hmm. You know, something we're coaching up right now in our coaching program is a mission statement. Mm-hmm. You know, if you don't have that goal, I mean, if you just started your Instagram, you said, I don't care, I'm just going to post some pictures, you know, right. I mean, there's no point in it. You got to have a purpose with all of this and a long-term goal, you know, for that success. So maybe give some people the idea of what is your long-term plan? What's your goal? What's your purpose with this?
You know, that's a great question, because that has really changed since I originally got licensed. When I originally got licensed, my goal really wasn't the financial metric. It was more of time and taking back control. You know, I had young children at the time. And so I just wanted, I had a very demanding corporate recruiting job before real estate.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I didn't want to go back to that job after I had my second child. I wanted more control over my day-to-day with my kids, because my husband worked a demanding corporate job in IT at the time. And I just wanted something that was more flexible. If our kids got sick, I could take off work. I didn't have that in recruiting in my corporate job. And so having the ability to be your own boss, for me, that's where that started. But over the years, now that I've gotten in with the company that I work in now, my mission and my purpose kind of found me in a way, you know. Wow. And I didn't realize that until I started working at EXP, how much I actually was impacting other people's lives. And through that, over the last almost 4 years of this company, I've been able to really harness and like hone in on that as a vision and who I can help. And I know who my ideal client is, you know, and they're female-led, female-driven. It's Girls with Grit. That's where that whole thing came from. Sorry, guys.
But, you good. I love that name. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm like, why aren't we called as like this grit?
Guys with grit. Like, what is the definition of somebody with grit, right? Like somebody that literally every day gets up and fails forward, and they keep, you know, they're persistent to pursue their dreams, their aspirations, their hopes, like whatever that is, they don't ever give up. Somebody with grit. And so I just thought that was like the perfect thing for us.
Well, I'm sure you've read Angela Duckworth, right, Grit? You read that book?
I have not.
Oh,
that's on my list. I know. Ironically, I have not.
I thought it was based on that. When he said so. Okay.
No, I just, I don't get me wrong. Like, I love personal development, actually.
Absolutely. Yeah, no doubt.
My clubhouse tonight, that's what we're talking about, is the mindset, because everything lives and dies in your mind.
It
you
does.
have to be constantly feeding your mind. I think Glenn Sanford even said, and Grant Cardone, like they wake up every day like they're broke, right? And they just are in that mindset every day. Because as an entrepreneur, as a self-employed person, we could sleep in every day if we wanted to. We have to make ourselves, you know, move the needle. And that all lives and dies in your mind. It starts there and it ends there every day.
It does. And it can be a bit overwhelming. I mean, I'll tell you what I suffered with, guys, and I still do to this day. Like the anxiety, like I don't use an alarm clock at all. I've never really have. The anxiety of the next day to be successful, I help people, wakes me up. And I'll tell you, sometimes it's not a good thing, because I mean, sometimes anxiety is a little overwhelming, but it is true. It's like that success should weigh on you so heavy that, you know, you want to go to sleep early. I mean, one big thing I changed in my life, guys, is that I go to bed like around 9, like 10 o'clock, I'm out. And I used to be the night owl, 3, 4. The way I learned internet marketing, the way I learned all this crazy shit that I know how to do, social media and influence. Yeah. I just stay up to 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, wake up for 6, and I thought it was like cool. I used to go. I mean, it's not bad, but like Eric Thomas would say, you know, you sleep when you die. I'll tell you now, with the transition in my life of the take a mindfulness element, I'll tell you, if I don't go to bed at like 10, I'm wrecked. But I am up at 5, 6 now. You know, so it's been an interesting transition for me, where I was the night owl and the morning bird for years. But I'll tell you, you know, I'm 46 years old now. I'm like, I can't do it anymore. Like,
did you read The Miracle Morning? Is that where that came from?
Absolutely. It's a big starting point. All of it. I mean, if you look at, you mentioned about, what you said, the mindset. You look at like David Goggins talks about and things like that. It came down to that. And what I figured out is like, because believe me, when I say I stayed up, I've built some pretty big social media influence empires too. crippling nighttime. When I'm drooling on the keyboard and I'm drinking coffee at 3:00 in the morning, and it's like, holy shit, what the hell is wrong with you?
It's hard to shut it off.
It is.
It really is.
I turn it off, and I tell people this, which is interesting. Like, if it wasn't for real estate, I'll be honest with everybody, I probably wouldn't be on social media.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at in life. If it wasn't for the business and creating the community and meeting great people like you and everybody, I mean, if it wasn't for social media, I wouldn't even be in business with Dustin right now at all. I wouldn't even know who this guy is. He lives in Tulum, Mexico. If it wasn't for this, we've never met. We're running an empire together, all because of social media and this type of networking.
Oh my God, saying the connections that we've been able to create.
Oh, it's wild.
And mine in general, like, are all stemmed from social media, almost all of them.
So, Christina, can I ask you, because I got muted a little bit there from technical. I wasn't able to ask you, but you dropped a couple of really interesting nuggets that I think the audience is going to really enjoy. You've achieved some successes in a few different areas of your business, obviously with social media and real estate sales, but growing your business, and now you're an author as well. And there's something that really stuck to me, because it sounds to me like you've really defined your avatar, your dream avatar, the person that you're able to supply the highest level of value to, and the people that you really enjoy, women in real estate or women in business. That's how important is it for, everyday agents to really, really hyper define who they're talking to?
Oh my God, to niche down is like everything, because when you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. So and you can think of that in any aspect of your life, whether it's in business, in your personal life. Like, you are whether they say your whole circle, everyone that you're surrounding yourself around, that is consuming in it, and you become who that person is. But for you to, for instance, if we're talking about like a client, if you know that you want to work with families at a certain price point in a certain neighborhood, you need to live and breathe that, because that is where that's going to just come from. I feel like the universe will send that to you. It's in a crazy little way. When you're putting things out there and you're like speaking to those people, you're not going to be speaking to the bachelor that wants to buy downtown in a high rise. Like, it's a totally different vibe and type of clientele base that you're talking to. And it's just no different in business. Like, with the people that I want to surround myself with, I better be the brokest person in the room. Like, that's literally my mindset with business and how I've been able to move the needle. Listen, like, when I started in this industry, I was broke. I was a stay-at-home mom. My husband was the breadwinner. Like, our roles have completely flipped and reversed. Now I'm bringing home the bacon, and he's supporting me, and we're working and doing this together. It's insane. Awesome. It's so crazy to think, like, in 6.5 short years, I've been able to create this, but I've literally not cared. I've had tunnel vision and kept my head down and worked, and didn't really care too much what other people thought or said about me. And so I think for me, that has been the biggest difference. I literally speak to who I feel like is my target audience, my target client, and I stay in my lane. I don't compare myself to other people. That's so important.
That's so important. I don't know how many times people ingest other people's limiting beliefs. And it's not even personal. It's not even about you. It's not like, I don't think you can do it. It's more like, I don't think I can do it, so I don't think you should do it. You know what I mean? Which is crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of chatter. And as Anthony said, social media, it can be consuming and negative, but I delete it. Like, there's a mute, a delete, you know what I mean? Like, you are in complete control of what you are putting in front of your face every single day, what you're listening to. You have just as much control over that as the person on the other end. So just control that and put it out there in the direction that you want it to go. If it's going to be negative stuff and political stuff and controversial stuff, that's what you're going to see. But if it's going to be positive, inspiring, like, oh my God, I want to get out there now. I just listened to this person's story and I'm kicking ass now. Like, that's cool. I love social media for that very reason. So, but you are in complete control of what you're feeding your mind and your brain,
You are, and on top of that, you become an amplification chamber for whatever information that you ingest. If you bring in negativity, all you're going to do is you're going to be expressing negativity and negative energy out there. I think we have a moral responsibility to stay positive and stay upbeat, and to ingest positive things and surround ourselves with positive people, and be the poorest person in the room. I love that.
Well, I try to be. I don't know if I always am, but like,
you just got to continue to progress, because once you become the best, you got to go find the better. You know,
it's a challenge. It's a challenge.
It is a challenge as you grow, but you could always find the better. I mean, I'll tell you that's one thing. And get yourself. I mean, and you mentioned like what you put in front of you. It's who you put in front of you too, which is hugely important. I mean, I'm in a group of guys. You know, we trade a lot of like crypto, for example, and these guys are looking to me for like advice and all. One of the guys is like, I'm like, man, look, I'm a mentor in life. Okay, like it's not about this, that, the other. It's about who you are, what you do, and how you can help others. I mean, I'm getting to the point where, EXP has changed my life. I'm leveling up in a way that I could tell you that I never thought I would be in real estate, And now people are coming to us and going, hey, man, how do I do this? What does it cost? And it's like, we could form these alignments, be a leader. I mean, that's when I talk about earlier, my purposeful intention.
Yeah.
And when you mentioned earlier about coming, like when I came into EXP, I didn't realize what it would pull out of me with this company to be a leader. I tell people all the time, 5 years ago when I joined, I had no idea. I had no idea of what this was going to create for me and me the ability to help others. And that's been my amazing challenge.
And it sounds like your why is completely changed too, like your mission.
It has. It has. I mean, it's complete. I travel now. I live in a different city every year. I mean, I was buried into real estate in New Orleans, killing it, but busting my ass now. I mean, like I'm going to be the nomad real estate agent. I'm traveling. I mean, I got boxes all over my house right now. I'm currently moving to Hot Springs, Arkansas, and people are like, why the hell Hot Springs? What the hell? And I'll tell you, it's an amazing place if you haven't been there. Like one of my big journey in life, my mindful journey in life right now. Hot Springs is an amazing spot. And then who's next? I mean, like I'm gonna might be St. Louis. I love St. Louis.
It's not too far. The world is your oyster, man. Like
it is. And it's this. I mean, it's the company we're affiliated with, yes, but it's also the person. You gotta be ready for that type of challenge. And I would love. I'll tell you, our goal, Dustin and I, is to get in front of enough people in life to help them.
Yeah. Well, what is that Jim Rohn said? If you help enough people get what they want out of life, you'll get everything you want out
absolutely.
of life.
Everything you want is a byproduct of helping other people, right? And
you also said you're not a tree. Move.
He did. I forgot about that one.
I love that. I don't know why. I just love that.
Oh, damn. I'm writing that one down right now. I forgot about that one.
Not a tree.
Move. I love that.
Wow.
I love that. And it's so true now. Like this, like we're like Anthony was saying, we're digital. Like I'm a digital realtor. I live all over the planet and operate from my computer, and it's it's amazing that we have the ability to architect a business to deliver a lifestyle. Right?
Oh my God! Like my business is built around that too.
Right? Like you're doing exactly the same thing. You're building a lifestyle. You're building a business that delivers a lifestyle. And I think it's a little shocking to me because a lot of people come into the real estate business thinking that, okay, I'm going to sling houses, I'm going to sell homes, and I'm going to make some money, and it's a career, right? But what they don't realize is the potential of the actual business itself. Of that, there's no barriers, there's no ceilings, there's no borders.
Why would there be though?
The business with a limiting belief.
Well, I think you have to be with the right vehicle, though, right?
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, we've been put in a box our whole entire lives, especially with real estate guys, because I talk to a lot of people who get their broker's license, and I talk to these agents, and they're like, man, Anthony, you know what? I'm just going to get my broker's license. And I have that conversation, and I started asking, it was actually some older people in the business, and I said, why? I mean, tell me why. I'm just really curious. I want to ask great questions, and you'll get the answer. And you know what the answer was 9 times out of 10? Well, that's what I've always been told to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, holy shit, and it's true though. If you think about me, I've been in real estate long enough to where your goal was still back then to be a broker. That's how long I've been in, long enough to where that was like, you was sold that dream. You go be a broker and you live the best life. Hell no. I mean, look, I'm not knocking anybody as a broker, don't get me wrong. But the fact is, we're put in this box and we stay in this box.
Yeah.
For some crazy ass reason.
Well, no, it's so true because people ask you that, especially like just random people will ask me out. They're like, so I see you doing all these things. Like, what's next? Are you going to be a broker?
Exactly.
No.
I get all the time. People think I'm a broker.
Like, why would I? I mean, okay, maybe to like elevate my education if somebody wanted to come and ask a question because I'm still actively in production. But like, no, I don't want to manage other people and take the risk. And no, thank you.
No.
You know what? I'm literally sitting in the middle of my brokerage. I used to own a boutique, a decent-sized boutique firm, and I was the CEO of the company. We're crushing sales, and I'm sitting on my desk. I'm like, okay, I'm looking at all the competitors. I'm looking at the virtual space that's happening right now.
Yeah.
EXP was just coming to town, and I was thinking, geez, if they get legs, we're screwed. and that's what happened. But
Yeah.
it was interesting because I'm sitting in the middle of the brokerage, and I'm like, and I look at the cash flow, I look at the expense report and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much here that I shouldn't even have to pay for anymore.
Right.
And I started looking at team leaders, and I started looking at realtors that were building out networks as opposed to teams or brokerages, and I'm like, why would I even want to own a business when it's more profitable? It takes less time, and there's less risk to actually run a team or run a network or build an organization in the right kind of business model that's now available to us. Like, why would I do that? And because it is literally 3 times more, I broke it down, it's 3 times more profitable to actually not run your own brokerage and to be a leader and a team leader or an organization leader in another brokerage with the right model, obviously.
100%.
It's incredible.
I mean, I sold almost 40 houses on my own last year, and I just hired a licensed assistant. I didn't hire a buyer's agent. Like, I don't want a team. I have a fake team. I have a faux team. We help each other. Like, I'm not responsible for any of them, but I am responsible for helping them grow their business. And that's my value add to people. Like, what I can personally help them with is lead generation, helping them figure out how to move the needle, which is what most agents want. If you can help them how to close more houses, you have their attention, right?
Yep, exactly.
So.
And be a mentor. But that's the biggest thing I've seen with it. And again, I want to make sure we state this, that, everybody has a vision. If it's your vision to be a broker, go for it. Look, don't let anybody ever squash your dream. If that's your goal in life and you see, go for it. Because one thing you do, whether you're a broker, whether you're a team leader, no matter what company you're with, you're a leader. And just make sure if you're going to be a leader, you be a great leader. That's where I see a lot of people fail, is they bring all these people in. Like, one thing I've committed to, I got a great downline, a great team. I'm always available. I mean, it's rare that I don't call somebody back. I mean, kind of where I'm moving now, the phone signal's a little weak, and maybe I'll miss a call or two, but I get back to it. And that's what, as a leader, you expect. I mean, if you look at any of the great leaders out there, Jim Rome, John Maxwell, you read what they do. And look, guys, I'm going to tell you one thing about leadership. It's not easy. It's not easy. Sometimes it cannot be fun. You got a lot on your shoulders, but it's so worth it when you see that person, his life changed because of the opportunity you've maybe put in front of them.
Well, you said John Maxwell, and he has a 15, Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. One of my favorite books ever.
I'll tell you, have you read, were you ever with Keller Williams?
No, I was never with Keller Williams.
So he wrote the book called The 15 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership with Keller Williams, too. Great book at the time. I was at Keller Williams for a long time, and he partnered with them and wrote the book. Really good insight on that book, too, because it does bring a real estate element. So if you get a chance to read that one, it's a really good book. But the 15 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, I mean, John Maxwell, I've probably read, I can't even tell you how many books he's read. Failing Forward is probably my favorite one of all.
Yeah, that's
so good.
That's a good one, too. It's all servant leadership. It's not about being a boss anymore, right?
It's about leadership.
Like back I remember my dad. My dad said, you know what, they teach us management. He was an executive for Woolworths.
Woolworths.
Woolworths, like back in the day.
Woolworths. He was an executive.
I used to buy fresh baked bread at Woolworths on Canal Street. Think about that one.
They used to teach him management skills. He was an executive, and he'd go through training and all that. And they used to teach, if they don't fear you, they will not respect you, and they won't do what you tell them to do. And it's complete. And this is back in the 80s, right?
Wow.
And like the apple cart is completely flipped. If you are not serving people, if you are not leading by example, if you're not nurturing people and giving value first before receiving, that's a much. I like that paradigm a hell of a lot better. I'll tell you that much. But,
my God, Simon Sinek! If you follow him, everything is on that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Absolutely. I love.
You don't have to make people be afraid of you to get your message across. For them to do what you want them to do, actually, probably should do the opposite.
Well, that's the difference between an employee and an entrepreneur. I mean, the shift, even the shift from E to P, entrepreneurial to purposeful. Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at in my business right now. It is where I'm at. I mean, I'm shifting from entrepreneurial mindset to a purposeful mindset. If you guys have never looked at or researched E to P, shift to E to P, huge game changer. especially if you're affiliated with a company like us or in a room with people like us. Huge stuff.
No, that's great.
So, Christina, tell us about. I do want to talk about Clubhouse. We haven't had that conversation with anyone yet, and I know in the Closer Club, you guys are crushing it. I mean, I saw we had the Clubhouse the other day with Grant Cardone on, which has been cool shit. That's been interesting to watch that.
It was pretty cool when I got pinged up there with Elena. And
I didn't get on there yet. I couldn't. You guys, I keep telling Brian, I'm like, man, you do the calls on my coaching calls. Like he does it during this time right here. But that's awesome. But tell us about Clubhouse. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people are using it, seeing it yet. I know myself, I'm barely even on it at this point.
Well, I know the last quarter of last year is when it kind of got some real big heat. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what, I actually changed. I've had an Android my whole life. I got an iPhone just for Clubhouse. My girlfriends made me do it. They're like, we got to get on this app. We've got to do this. So that was kind of a difficult thing because I really love my Droid, but it's okay. The iPhone's okay, but right. At least I have access because you can only have access to it if you have an iPhone. Or
I saw that the other day. I didn't know if that was actually a real thing. I saw people saying that, but it is a real thing. So you have to.
You can get an iPad and just do it off the iPad if you want to. If you don't want to have to switch your phone, but someone also has to invite you. Like I get so many invitations, they give them to me like randomly. You can't get more, and once you're out, you have to wait for them to give you more. And so we've been doing Girls with Grit for 5 weeks. So today I think is our 6th show, like sixth Clubhouse that we'll
It's right after this too. Girls with Grit's right after this.
It's this evening.
Oh, this evening. Okay, got it.
Yeah, so 8 p.m. Central Time.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Central Time. And so you have to run like 3 weeks in a row at the same time to get a club, your event.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because I was wondering how the heck I do this.
Well, they're so far behind, so it took us. We just got the club last week.
Wow!
And so it's been almost 5 weeks by that time, 5-6 weeks. So that's why Brian was like texting me when he's doing that. I'm like, you got to do it at the same time. You got to be on.
Yeah, he said. I saw he said that. Yeah.
But what's really cool about it is allowing you to have like a live podcast that you can interact with the speaker. And there's been people in there like Grant Cardone. Elon Musk,
I was on one the other day with Robert Kiyosaki, David Goggins. I'm like, literally, it was like 50 people in the room. I'm like, holy shit.
And you're learning from these people, like, and just listening to them on business, on finance, on real estate, on any kind of topic. And I can't even begin to tell you in our Girls with Grit group that we have. So we have a Facebook group and then we have the Clubhouse. The feedback from people has been just insane. Wow. They're like, I literally am rearranging my whole Thursday night to make sure I don't miss it. And I'm like, this is so cool. I feel like you're really being able to impact so many people. And it doesn't matter what brokerage you're with, our stuff is mainly on real estate stuff. But anybody can come into that. And any woman can come into our group. It doesn't matter what brokerage. We just ask that you're an actively licensed producing real estate agent. Our target market, like niching down, is not the Aldi agent. It's the Nordstrom agent. Right. It's the agent that's established, that's out there.
Agent. I don't ever heard that one yet.
You have to know your client down to the way they dress, the way they look, like where they would stay at a hotel, where they would vacation. Like you get to really know the person that you're attracting. Wow. Because likability attracts that. So that's really, we've attracted a lot of like female bosses, broker owners into that space. And it's been pretty cool. But Clubhouse has really helped us elevate our message and drive it home, I think, to a different audience. So we were really worried we would alienate people. I think in the beginning, we did go live in our Facebook group for the people that have an Android. And we took a poll in the group, and about 80% of the women in the group had an iPhone. Only about 20% of them were Droid users.
Gotcha.
So we really wanted to make sure that we weren't alienating a whole audience of people because you have to have an Apple product to get on it.
But see, you saw something. I mean, this is like what I think people miss sometimes in life. You saw an opportunity for something badass, and you went and took the plunge. And look, I'm gonna tell you, I know. Like, if you put me in Android, I'd probably throw the Android out the window right now. I wouldn't do it. But then you were like, "Holy shit! Okay, this is something." And that's a difference, guys. Sometimes it's like you got to do this uncomfortable thing to get to that level. And then you mentioned like the barrier entry for this club of people. You're looking for people who want to level up, and I get it. I mean, look, not everybody can be in the room. And sometimes you don't want people in a room. And I hate to say that, but it's the truth.
Oh, totally. Totally the truth. You got to be careful about who you're listening to, taking information from.
Oh, so true. It's I mean, we
Right?
talk about on our team who you level up with, who you mentored by, who you partner up with, who you're in a team with makes a difference. It
Yeah.
totally makes a difference. I compare it to like football. You know, I'm big into football, a lot of sports, and when you get that one cancerous player that continues to give everybody shit, or it's all about them and they want the ball all the time. I mean, look, they might be the best. I mean, look, some of the best like wide receivers, for example, or quarterbacks are no longer even in the NFL because of their attitude. You know, they might. I mean, there's some badasses. You know, but they don't mesh well with others, and that's hugely important. And look, that person has every right to go start their own team and do their own thing. I mean, they can do that, and then and it's good luck having people follow you when it's all about you. And that's one thing as a leader, learning. You got to empower others and empower the right people. Because if those people don't want it, you're not going to make them want it. You are not. I mean, I have fought that. I've begged people to be successful, and finally, I'm like, dude, done. I can't do it. I mean,
You can't make people. You can't. I mean, especially in this industry, right? With such a high failure
especially
rate.
in this industry. And look, this is a tough industry, guy. I think people get into real estate and don't realize that. This is a head game. Real estate is the most consuming, tiring, challenging career I've ever been. Look, I've waited tables at badass restaurants in New Orleans. I've worked in warehouses. I was in the Army for 16 years. I did some crazy shit. This real estate, toughest job ever. Toughest job
so
ever.
hard. And people just see the highlight reel and they'll message you and they'll be like, God, it looks like so much fun. I'm like,
People only post the good shit.
Work.
People only post the fun shit on Facebook.
Yeah, they don't.
It's so easy. Stop making it look so easy.
Yeah.
Who does a Facebook Live while they're grinding phones for 3 hours at a time?
I used to. People are like, what's wrong with this guy?
Oh, man.
Yeah,
dude, you look at guys like James Festini and that. They do it.
Well, they do that, yeah. But you know what? People don't see the behind the scenes. All they see is sold. Oh my God, Christine must be making so much money right now. I want to do this too. I can do this.
Right. Little do they know, when I started, I think it was like the 11th agent in my city, that no one had even heard about my company, and everybody was like, why are you selling real estate with them? Like,
oh, dude, I was the first one in New Orleans. Trust me. I mean, I went for a big mega team at Keller Williams, and then God had an interesting hiccup in life, and then went to the first EXP agent, in New Orleans. People are like, dude, you okay? Did you hit your head or something? Like, what?
It's not even about the brand. It's about your personal brand, your personal name. It's about your personal traction, about your sphere of influence, about the momentum that you're building up around you as a realtor as well. So, like, it's you plus your brand, and you got to you're building your business from nothing. And a lot of people don't realize when they're thinking, oh, I'm going to be a real estate agent and I'm going to sell some homes. This is a full-on business. You've got to manage a pipeline of, from people coming into your pipeline, into your sphere, all the way to exiting and delivering client stories and creating raving fans. And you have to manage every single step of the way. And when you're first starting, you're broke. You're first starting, you don't have money to invest back into your business. A lot of people, most realtors that I coach don't have any money when they first start, right? So they've got to do everything, and they're trading their time to do those things as opposed to paying money. Money is the leverage, and eventually you can get there. But that's why most realtors don't make it past the first couple of years. Because
it's also why I started social media, like using that as my income producing activity and posting, because the barrier to entry is no cost.
It's just time.
It's just your time and efforts.
Absolutely.
Right? Every little steps every single day to move the needle, and 2 years go by, and then you're like, wow, I've created something pretty cool here, and done it with low barrier to entry, like no cost or low cost.
So do you get anybody to manage it for you now, or are you still doing it manually yourself? You do it all yourself? I still
do it manually, and I really preach now. Okay, I do tell agents to do a brain dump like once a month if I feel like they want to talk about certain content. And so then you can piece that out. And you can use an app called Planoly to piece it out, or even like Facebook Creator, like the Business Manager will help you. But I don't do auto posting, and I don't recommend it because it's just, people don't like shit. They're smart. They know that you're auto posting. And those posts are not going to get the engagement that you want. So you're much better off creating your own content and piecing it out and figuring out, okay, these are the days I'm going to show up, and this is how I'm going to show up. This is what I'm going to do. Piecing that out versus using an auto poster. I just don't recommend using like Hootsuite or something. Now, having somebody to help you like manage it, like a VA to manage your social media, I'm at that point to where I really do need someone to help me with that part and helping me plan out the map. but I won't ever give up control of showing up myself because I have to be that person.
Well, you've got to show up, but it's also like all your posts, all your content has to have your personality and your flavor.
Yes.
Because as soon as you hire somebody and you're not managing it anymore, like the automatics, like you can feel the automatics, like it's it's like a robot doing it. And then if you hire a VA and you lose too much control or too much of the personality, because every single social media platform that you build on has its own character.
Right.
If you give too much control to somebody, you're changing the personality, and people are following you for a reason. So
I say it all the time.
100%. 100%.
I talk about hiring someone to go to networking events for you. Would you do that? And I tell you, you guys want to say, like, I paid attention for years, especially like Instagram. There's a company called Good Eggs based out of San Francisco. And Good Eggs is actually obsolete now. They're gone. And what they did is they had an amazing presence locally in every market. So they had like Good Eggs in New Orleans, for example. And what happened was Good Eggs was a community grocery store that all these small mom and pops could come bring their product to this community grocery store and sell it. Okay, and it was so cool. Like in New Orleans, we were like buying crazy things that people were making in their house, just really cool food. And all of a sudden, Good Eggs decided we're gonna go corporate. They started posting like the Good Eggs corporate turkey, like, and in the picture, like those stock photos. I mean, crash and burn instantly when that happened. And I tell you, I was on a podcast with Joel Epstein in DC, and I'll tell you, it's like hiring someone to go to a networking event. And the one thing I talk about, you hear me say 1,000 times, just imagine if you went to that networking event and you just went and tapped everybody in the room and then walked away. I mean, like, and that's what we do. We like a button on Instagram, tap, yeah, right? But yet we do it, right? But yet we do it in social media. I mean, we hire people to do it. We tap these like buttons and we run away and hide. And just think about that. If you use if real life networking, what do? It's awkward sometimes. Like I'll go walk up to you and I don't know you, but I'm like, hey, you know what I mean? I think this is that. How to meet? Like, what do you do? Blah blah blah. Same difference. If you do that in social media, you will win.
You will win. You will win if you show up every day and you get in there, engage, and you are your true, authentic self. The right people. And so you can't really worry about like, oh God, I don't have so many followers. I mean, would it be cool to have 10,000? Probably for my swipe up. That's the only thing I really care about. That was
a changer for me. You're right. The swipe up. That was it.
But I do have, a link in my bio, and I have a link tree, and people click on that all the time. Because I see it. I see them.
We use Later a lot, so it's one of those ones. Link in bio, the same thing, and it works great. And you can do that for sure.
Linktree Milkshake's another one. There's several of them, and they don't cost you anything. No. And I've taught a really cool tip to agents. I put the QR code. I create that from my Linktree, and I put that on my signs, my real estate signs, so people can scan it, and then it'll take take them right to the property information. So I can just have that on there and then delete it when the house sells.
It's so big. Like, guys, I did this. I ran a food account in New Orleans, and back when Snapchat is still on my coffee cup, and it's funny. But what I did, in the way it's interesting, I gained influence with this social media account, especially via Snapchat. I went and bought like 5,000 of these stickers, and I put them everywhere.
Really?
I mean, and it was like, it was a little, graffiti-ish, I guess you'd say, but I didn't care. It wasn't like it was I wouldn't do it in my real estate business, but I did. And it was funny. One day, someone sends me a picture of someone speaking on the news, and in the background of the news, the stickers on the wall, And so I tell you what funny that I did. I started just thinking outside the box is what I'm saying. Like I went and created this crazy influence in a market that I had no dominance in. Mardi Gras time. Every float that came by, I stuck a sticker on it. You know how many followers I got that next night? I mean, like 10,000, because people are like, oh shit, because back then Snapchat was hot. That's what you got. That's like the cool thing about Clubhouse. What's the next hot thing? I mean, Snapchat is, I don't even know. I've deleted my Snapchat, but I don't even keep
I'm not on
Snapchat.
I just couldn't get that. Like,
it's like TikTok. I'm not getting into TikTok. I'm not even going to lie to you.
I had it, and I went down a rabbit hole, had to delete it.
Look, they have some cool things on there. I went down a rabbit hole too. Like I still collect, sports cards and things like that because, you pay attention to Gary Vee. And NFTs is another huge thing they're talking about right now. So I do kind of pay attention to that. But TikTok's a rabbit hole.
Well, I know a lot of agents that do a lot of business from TikTok.
Yeah.
I've had people message me and they're like, Christina, you would do really well on TikTok. Why aren't you on TikTok? I'm
You just
like,
can't. It's too much.
Too many things.
It's too many.
Right? You
It's
got to
too
pick
many.
the battles. And you know what? I was talking to an agent the other day, and like I was going down a rabbit hole on TikTok, and not me, they were, and it's like I woke up, like I sat down at 1 o'clock to hit my calls, and I got onto TikTok, and 4 hours later, I'm like,
Dude,
oh my God.
right?
it's like a succubus.
You guys understand the difference? Like, these things are built for entertainment, so they'll suck you in. The
Entertainment.
algorithms
Right.
are there to suck you right in. But the entrepreneur needs to look at them like tools, not as your TV, right? If you can sit down and watch TV at night and relax, then fine. If you want to do that on TikTok, then you do that on TikTok. If that's what you want to do, you want to do YouTube, no problem. But when you're working, right? And
Same on Facebook or Instagram, you're working. Like, I'm on there, but I'm working. Like, there's a purpose for what I'm doing on there.
It's work. You have to keep the mindset that these are entertainment vehicles. It's like all of a sudden having the ability to plug into a TV, right? And so you're going to get lost, or you're going to do the job.
It's crazy how it sucks you in, though. I mean, just last night, I looked at TikTok for about 30 minutes last night, and literally all that came up was sports cards and NFTs. And it's like, how in the hell does this platform know that? That's the scary part. I mean, I don't post that I collect sports cards anywhere. I don't post. I got one spot where I started getting into NFTs and things like that, and just kind of researching and looking into it and kind of getting into it a little bit. I'm like, how in the shit does this program know this?
Yeah, I kind of want to know too.
Well, the other day, my girlfriend was showing me a product called Newcom that Tony Robbins uses for his meditation. And oddly enough, this ad pops up on my phone with Tony Robbins promoting Newcom.
Of course.
They're listening.
They gotta be, dude. We're not gonna go. We'll start a whole conspiracy YouTube channel at some point in life too. But I mean, it's wild.
Oh, they're for sure listening. They're for sure
listening. Are you kidding me? They are so listening.
Well, Christina, tell us about Resilient Real Estate, your book. Okay, I know you wrote this. I wanted to read it, and I'm sorry, I wanted to download it. I just did not have the time. I'm like, shit, I completely forgot to download and read it. But tell us about it.
So I got linked up with Kim Hayden, who was I think she was Agent 300 or something in the XP. She's from Calgary. Wow. Yeah, she's actually really good friends with Glenn and Debbie. And so I helped them actually get the idea to take the RV around.
Dude, I never knew that till the other day. For some reason, Debbie posted that they are actually in RV, and I'm like, holy shit, I know I'm with the right company now because this is what I'm doing. You know?
Yeah, that's what they did. I mean,
I told somebody that the other day, they were like, no, you joking. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No.
They sold everything they owned and moved into this RV and opened a brokerage in every state. It's crazy.
Wow.
So Kim came from that space, and she's been in real estate for over 20 years. And actually, we got linked up because Brian Colhane had me speaking about social media inside our cloud office. Mm-hmm. And Kim listened to me. And after that meeting, she reached out and she said, man, I was really captivated by your story, Christina. I'd like to talk to you about this book that I'm creating. And so we talked about the Resilient series. And she's actually, it's a spinoff. So the Resilient Women in Real Estate is also going to be the Resilient Man. It's like a whole series that she's doing. Awesome. And I think she's even going to do a second book on the Resilient Women in Real Estate. So I just happen to be in the first book. It's myself and 7 other women. Wow. And Kim. And then Anthony Priestley, who was our author. And he's written about 12 books in the UK on money, finance, and real estate. So he was already a really good published author to help us get the book out. And so each agent in the book, Kim handpicked because of our resiliency to grow our business in the way that we were. So think of it as chicken soup for the women in real estate.
I saw your description. That was awesome.
Yeah. And so I just had this opportunity and I ran with it, right? Sometimes you just don't know things. You're like, I'm not an author. I don't know. I've never written a book, but it was really cathartic for me to get a lot of that stuff out, and pretty cool to just tell my story about who I am, why I am the person I am today, and the background to everything basically. So essentially my whole life's work and my whole life story of how I'm even here right now. And it's pretty cool. Not going to lie.
And so where can they find the book if people want to download and read it?
So on Amazon, you can just type that in. And right now we have the Kindle version available. I believe it's 99 cents on the Kindle. And then our paperback version just came out. I think it's $3.99. And then here, probably in the next month, we're going to be on Audible. So just look for that on Amazon.
Yeah, I'll definitely. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
How, you just said it. You got this real estate book that you took time to publish and everything. 99 cents. I mean, look,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm not a fan of Amazon. Amazon's changed and disrupted a lot of stuff, and I think it's good and bad in so many ways. But I could tell you one thing that I will give them credit: books.
Yeah.
Audible. I mean, look, and I know it's put some mom and pop bookshops out of business. I get it again, but I'll tell you, if you're not willing, if you want to learn at a crazy high level.
Yes.
I mean, I went the other day, and I think I spent $12. I bought like 16 books. You know, and I mean, it's unreal. Like, I know I got a stack of paper books over here right now, but I'll tell you, for years I've been transitioning to my Kindle. I have an iPad that's a bit old now, but I probably got 1,000 books in there. Am I Audible? I mean, holy cow! I've been having Audible now for like, I don't know, 6-7 years. I can't even tell you how many books. But
it's super convenient. It's super convenient. I like the paper book, but like touching the book and reading the book. But my husband, he's a slow reader. He could read 10 times the amount of books that he could on Audible versus like in the flesh. Like,
I'm at 1.5 on Audible now, and like if I go lower, I can't even listen to the book. It's crazy. Like, I'm telling you, you want to be challenged. You want to do something that's really crazy. Go listen to 10x at 2x. Go listen to 10x at 2x. I'm gonna tell you, you will literally want to jump out your car and run down the interstate. You get Grant talking, and it's just like. It's like your heart will start racing. I'm telling you.
He has that ability to do that. You know?
Oh, hell yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
When you 2x, 10x.
Yeah.
Right.
So Audible's really cool. It's changed the game. I know that I put a lot of mom pops out of business, but I think it's necessary for us to be able to level up at this level, like to stay in 2021, you know, where we're at, and go on an airplane and read a book, you know, like just do it like in a quicker way and just feed our mind that information. Huge.
At podcast too, I'll tell you one thing. Somebody broke down the other day. I don't remember who it was, but you think about a book, okay? And we've read like Think and Grow Rich, for example, okay? Like Think and Grow Rich, I probably read 3 or 4 times.
Love it.
Imagine if Napoleon Hill had a podcast.
Man,
amazing.
But see, that's what we have. We have today's Napoleon Hills that are releasing podcasts 2-3 times a week. Think about that. Somebody said, you know, you read a book and the subject matter, I mean, like this book right here, I mean, he's got a lot of badass books written, but I mean, you know, he probably has a podcast out there, but I mean, you get that author who wrote this book to break it down weekly at so many different levels. Guys, there has never been a better opportunity for learning and from others. I mean, and I told somebody the other day, imagine if Napoleon Hill had a podcast.
Yeah. Could you imagine, like, just how you'd be feeding your mind
it's crazy.
And learning just over the years of all the billionaires that he interviewed and just surrounded himself around? Like, that's crazy. But the one thing in that book that he talks about that made them successful is what? They had the ability to tell their story and convey their message and paint a picture for people, and they knew their story inside and out, and they were able to reiterate that to someone else to captivate them, for that person to know, like, and trust them and want to work with them or want to follow them or want to emulate them. That they just have that ability to do that. And so if you can do that using social media, you are that authority. We're doing
it right now.
We're doing it right now.
We're doing it right now.
You are in complete control of that. It's pretty cool.
It is cool. And look, literally, I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana. Dustin's in Tulum. You're in St. Louis. Yeah. I mean, this guy, you know, he had to go travel around the country back in the day when travel wasn't easy. The only reason your ass doesn't do it right now is because you're lazy and you don't want to. I mean, right now, there's no reason why. Like what you're doing with Clubhouse, with your book, what we're doing with our podcast, what hundreds of other agents are doing, and just business people in general. I mean, there's no reason why, other than getting up. I mean, there's times I don't want to get up every Tuesday, Thursday, and go live. I'll be honest with you. I mean, who does all the time? But you know what? That's what it takes, the grit.
The grit. It takes the grit, the doing the hard things nobody else will want to do or will do. Guess what? I'm going to raise my hand. I'm going to do it every day. I'm going to show up because I know that most people won't. And so that will lead me to have the ability to have a life that most people couldn't even ever dream.
Right.
Yeah. You can't even dream of the life that I have on my vision board and where I'll be in the next 5 to 10 years.
Oh, it's so true. Yeah. It's so
true.
It's all
possible. It's all possible. The extra mile is paid in gold, man. If you're willing to do the extra work, if you're willing to go the extra mile, do the things that people are not willing to do, you're going to live the life that people dream of.
And they won't be able to. Most people won't be able to. Right.
No, they don't. They just can't. They just can't. I get a lot of people like, oh, you're a realtor. Oh, okay. So where are you looking at? I'm in Tulum. So how's that work? I'm like, well, let me show you. They just like, they gotta just get outside of your box, get outside of your paradigm. Everything that you want that's outside of what you have right now is literally outside of your existing paradigm. You as a human being have to actually go through a journey of change in order for you to deserve the life that you want to live. And I think that's basically what we're talking about. You know, the people that are willing to go the extra mile, they're willing to go through change. They're willing to adopt new skills. They're learning. They're ingesting new information in order
doing something different.
Grow,
you know,
grow as a human. I forgot who said it. Someone famous said that you wouldn't be able to even have the ability to dream something up if it wasn't possible. Mm-hmm. Like you would not have been given the ability to even to have the thoughts or have the dreams or think that way if something wasn't a possibility.
I tell you, we can go. You want to talk about a rabbit hole? We could go deep into that. It's like I'm big into like meditation and visualization. And I watched the documentary the other day, guys, where it literally showed you that thoughts create matter.
Oh,
and I mean, you know, I was like, wow. Okay, like,
all you need is this and a little Wi-Fi. We need Elon Musk to get that Starlink up so we can go to a remote island and have 5 speed, whatever we need internet access for.
Yeah, we so need that. We so need that.
Oh my God. Traveling too, like one of my big, you know, my vision board. I talk about your vision board is a catamaran, and I follow. We talked about with oh damn, I think it was Kim, but the lower latitude team, and she's selling into the Bahamas and all that too, and so I was like, that's the one flaw. You know, I follow these families who do, they cross the Pacific and the Atlantic. There's no communication. If they figure that out where you got communication, I'll sail all over this freaking world.
Same. I told my husband we were in St. Martin, or I was in St. John and St. Thomas with him.
Yep.
We did charter a boat for a cruise one night, and I was like, I think you just need to go to the BVI's and like go to sailing school.
That's it. Yeah, that's my look.
I mean, that's cool.
Oh, it's amazing. You look at, I think it was Sailing Zatara we talked about the other day. It's a family on YouTube. If you want to talk about like, just a whole family ditching their lifestyle and hitting on a boat, and that's where like I've been looking at St. John, St. Lucia, the Bahamas, Mexico, Belize. I mean, look, you can have. I don't know if I'll ever do what they call a crossing because I don't know. I don't know if I'm big on sailing across the Pacific or the Atlantic. But I mean, look, we're here in the lower latitude, like she mentioned. You can sail all over the Gulf of Mexico and into these Caribbean islands, and man, that's the cool part is that we're building things that we can do that. And that's bringing people into this vision because people jokingly say, wow, we don't know where Anthony's at right now. I'm like, yeah, you do, because I post on Facebook every time I move. But I'll tell you, that's my
stories. You see me traveling.
Right, that's my thing. It's like,
like, how are you able to do that, travel the way that you are traveling?
But see, back to thinking inside that box. As your standard real estate agent who thinks inside that box.
Yep.
Yeah, we can literally architect the business.
I think when I was in St. Martin, I think I sold 2 houses and got 3 new clients when I was there for a week. Like,
so awesome.
Oh my God.
You just do it right. You just have to do it right.
You make more money when you actually go on vacation.
That's the joke.
Oh, yeah, man, it's true. Allison Andrews, who we interviewed, she went to Hawaii, and she's like, man, why is this? Every time I was leaving a day in Hawaii, and I'm like, it's such a thing that I don't understand. It really is such a thing.
It's such a thing. I'm surprised that people aren't going on vacation once every 2 months.
Right.
I'll be in Cabo with our leadership in a couple of weeks, and I'm like, well, maybe I should just list the house the same week I'm going to leave because we know it's going to sell as soon as I leave.
Yeah,
that's funny.
That's how it works.
Love it, guys.
Look, it's been amazing. We run up on an hour, guys. We try to keep it an hour. So, I mean, look, this has been a great interview. I loved having you on. How can everybody find you on social media? Give them how they can communicate with you.
So I'm on Facebook. You can just find me, Christina Swyers, on Facebook. I also have the Girls with Grit Collective group on Facebook for your female audience. And then I do Clubhouse tonight, Thursday nights at 8. We have a club, Girls with Grit Club. And then on Instagram, I'm at the real Christina Swyers.
Awesome. Awesome.
Excellent.
Good deal. Good stuff. Amazing. Love the journey. Look, we got a long way to go, guys. So let's do it.
Long way. We're just getting started.
We're just getting started.
Scratching the surface. It's so much fun. And that's the cool thing. It's just fun. It's a whole bunch of fun. It's not work anymore. It's just
I know.
Right?
So cool. I love it.
We get paid to do this. I mean, think about that.
Pinch me.
Isn't it so shocking? It's shocking. Like, I'm getting paid to live until it was like, okay.
Right.
Done. Sign me up.
Sign me up.
All right, Chris.
Awesome. All right, guys. Have a good one.
All right. Have a great day.
Bye.
Ciao, everybody.